Hi, I'm Daniel Rolls from Target Internet, and in this video we're going to talk about setting measurable objectives for your digital marketing campaigns. So one of the biggest problems of a lot of digital campaigns is that actually we don't clearly set measurable objectives from the outset, and then we come to look at the success, it's almost impossible to work out if it worked well or not. So what we're really trying to do is set objectives that we can use web analytics to measure. And what we need to think about at that point is defining what our primary objective are. So primary objectives are those things that we can get people to do online that are as near as possible to our business objective. So let me explain. If you're an e-commerce business, your primary objective, an online sale, is the same as your business objective, which is selling online as well. So it's nice and easy. You set up a goal in your analytics, which is somebody buying something, and that's measuring your primary objective and your business objective. In a business-to-business organization, your primary objective online is to get someone to fill in a lead generation form. So to fill in a form to get somebody to contact them. But actually your business objective is an actual sale. So there's a gap between the primary objective and the business objective. So we can measure that primary objective online through analytics, but actually the business objective probably happens somewhere else, because that's going to go off and be on the end of a phone call or somewhere else as well. So the reality of this is there's a bit of a gap between primary objective and business objective. In a brand situation where you've got somebody engaging with some content online and then a week later they're buying something in a shop, the primary objective is that online engagement, the business objective is something that happens somewhere else. So again, there's a bigger gap between the two. The key things about primary objectives is that you are able to go through and measure them in analytics. You can set them up as a goal, and then we just need to work out what that gap is between primary and business. Now, as I said, e-commerce, there is no gap, really straightforward. E-commerce businesses are great to work within because you do something and you get a reaction, and you can measure that very easily. In business to business, the normal gap between primary and business objectives is actually measured using a CRM, or a customer relationship management system. And that CRM system will allow us to track when the leads came in, where they came from, and then we can look at how many of them actually converted into business. So the gap is measurable using CRM. In a situation where you're a brand and maybe you're engaging with some content online and then a week later in a shop, it's a lot more difficult, because I'm trying to work out, did that actual engagement online lead to that person buying something? And the only real way of doing that is you set your primary objective as being online engagement and you measure that in some way, but then you need to ask people questions. And you go back and you say, actually, the people that bought our product, did they engage, and is there a correlation between the two things? So the idea of primary objectives is a really important one, because it says, what are we going to define success looks like for this particular campaign? And then we can measure back against it and actually look, did that have an impact on the bottom line? Now you want to set primary objectives that you can set up as goals within your analytics. And there's a number of different types of goals, but we're probably really, there's two of them we really want to think about. One is a destination goal. That is somebody getting to a particular page. So a destination goal, if you get to the thank you for buying page, I know you've purchased. If you get to the thank you for filling in the form page, I know you filled in the form. So maybe in an e-commerce situation or a business to business lead generation situation, a destination goal is great. However, if I just want to look at you engaging with my content, well, it's great you loading up a particular report, but actually what I need to look at is, did you scroll down and did you engage with that content? So what we might then do is set up an event. And an event is something we can set up in analytics that isn't just about a page loading, it's about somebody doing something within a page. That could be clicking on the play button of a video, getting to the end of that video, maybe scrolling down through some content. So that shows some level of engagement with my content. So we set our primary objectives, we set up our goals in analytics to work out how many of those primary objectives are being completed. And then the last stage is to think about that gap. How is there a gap between our primary objective online and what our actual business outcome is? And if we can then go through and measure that, we can work out the success of our campaigns, and we should hopefully be able to go through and iterate and improve our digital marketing campaigns. So I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe if you did, and I'll see you again on targetinternet.com.